And also, okay, well, we're live. Perfect. It's okay. It's cool. Let's just go.
You want to just go? No
Yeah,
intro?
let's just do it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Boom! Welcome to Dope Black Thoughts Live. This is Kevin Cox.
I'm Stefania.
And I'm Michael Carter. Carter for kids.
Oh, don't do it like that. See, I don't like it.
The skeleton crew today, but nevertheless, the crew.
This ain't no skeleton crew. This is the heavy hitters right here.
There you go. Yep. The real one.
Hey, you know what? We're the lecturers. You know. So hold on, I want to take a back seat real quick because I'm on the stream with two of the heavy hitters that were helping to host the Arapahoe County Pat Schroeder, I don't know which annual Pat Schroeder dinner / gala / fundraiser /
Wow. Yes, we did do that. We did do the dinner on Tuesday, the Arapahoe County Democratic Dinner fundraiser. Let me just start with the venue. It was beautiful.
I'm going to get us some pictures. We're going to put them in, you guys. That
venue was amazing. So Pinterest hosted the dinner for the Dems. They provided the venue. Amazing. If you've ever been to the View House in Alpha I-25, this rivals that by far. It's bigger. It's beautiful. The view is amazing. So shout out.
What was it called?
Is it not Pinterest? Pindustry. Pindustry.
Right.
My bad. Pindustry, not Pinterest.
No, I literally couldn't remember. I remember reading it and I was like, wait, what was that? Yeah, Pindustry. So It was beautiful. Y'all, what y'all do? Y'all were heavily involved.
So DBT was invited to kind of MC and help out with the award ceremony and the auction.
It was a lot of fun, and there were a lot of people there. Jason Crow, Janet Buckner, Phil Weiser, who else?
Congressman Jason Crow, Attorney General Phil Weiser, Senator Janet Buckner.
Sorry, Kevin.
I just want to give them their roses while they're here, but at the same time, hey, I see you, Stefania. I see you, Carter. I see y'all out there in them streets.
Hold on, I'm trying to post these for you guys, but it was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. One of the people that was there, it was so funny. It was. Do you have the pictures, Stefania? I'm sorry. This is not good at all. There we go. One of the people that was there that was the Democrat of the Year was Joan Lopez, who would love to come on the show. She was the Arapahoe County Democrat of the Year. She is the county clerk for Arapahoe County. She's the one that was counting all the ballots. She'd love to come on.
By hand. Lots of paper cuts.
Right?
Hey, look, if y'all ain't never, excuse my slang real quick, but if you've never been involved in the actual vote counting process or the curing process or the recounting process, that's where all these people that say they don't trust elections, step inside that county clerk's office and get involved with actually putting the ballots into the counter and seeing what kind of verification methods they have. Mm-hmm. I could tell you for Amy Padden's campaign for Judicial District 18 district attorney, I was involved in the recount in Douglas County, and I'm talking about so many. They make sure that you have equal numbers of Democrats and Republicans coming to observe the ones that aren't decipherable by the machine. It just gave so much more credibility to the electoral process. So many Republicans were up there with their notepad, like, oh yeah, and they didn't do this, and then they're like, just quietly sitting there holding a notepad for 6 hours straight because everything you observe is super legit. And this was a Republican-run county clerk's office that we were in, and most of the staff, I will say this, most of the staff was wearing a red lanyard signifying that they were Republican. But I can just imagine that in most places, the process is pretty airtight where we've done this for a while.
Yeah. And Joan Lopez does an amazing job. And so we shout out to her. She did get receive an award during the ceremonies. I got to meet her. She's a great lady. She's a nice lady.
Absolutely.
I'm trying.
And I appreciate everything she's done for the county and for the electoral process. You know, I think she was a sleeper. People weren't expecting her. She came out of the woodworks and she hit them over the head, and she's actually done pretty good out here.
Yeah. So what else? Go ahead, Carter. Tell us what was your take on the dinner?
Oh, did you guys? The private chat. It was. Man. Hold on. It was a wonderful experience. It was. I would love to put up some of the pictures, show you the venue, show you the view, show you the people that were there. There was. I mean, we did try to make a statement during the show. You know, Arapahoe County has to come face to face, and the Arapahoe County Dems just has to come face to face with its lack of diversity. It just has
lack of diversity and inclusion. It really does need to be something about inclusion. Yeah, and there was a statement that was sent by our beloved Hashim that I would love to have read, and unfortunately my phone died, and so I didn't get a chance to read that out loud. But it had to do with inclusion and diversity and racism within the Arapahoe County Democratic
Party
Committee. So, you know, Janet Buckner was there. She kind of addressed it very briefly about being one of the largest supporting classes in the Democratic community, the Black female voters, and Black voters in general hold that party. We hold that party. I'm not saying 100%, but we bring a lot of votes to that party, and that needs to be addressed. And it's sad that I'm addressing it here instead of in front of them, because it needed to have been said, but I didn't prepare anything. Hashim did for me, and I didn't get a chance to read it.
But you are, Sophia, as a Black woman, you are part of the demographic that is a mainstay in an expected voting block that saves so many maybe not so strong Democratic candidates. So, and I can say this as a insider elected, there are some high-powered Black Democrats that are elected in office right now that lost a whole lot of faith in the Democratic Party of Arapahoe County as well, and we're just considering going independent, just like so many already have. Like honestly, this whole thing could have seriously hit critical mass 2 years ago. 2 years ago, before a lot of this stuff has happened. 5 years ago, this could have happened, and there are grumblings about this sort of stuff still. So. You know, it's something that Arapahoe County has to face, and you know, I do think that, look, they're not diverse. So when they try, it's not going to seem like enough. It's not going to seem good enough. You need diverse thoughts. That's why DBT is so powerful, because we have so many diverse opinions and backgrounds and whatnot. They don't, since they don't have that, the efforts seem to be less, you know, less worthwhile or less effective, less efficacious.
Right. And the problem is they're not concerned about it. You know what I mean? Like that needs to be a concern of theirs.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We do need to see more. And that's not hard. That's not a argument people could have with us. We do need to see more.
But check it out. Diverse people need to also come get involved. I think it goes both ways. I didn't want to be over here co-signing, you know, when we're chastising, you know, people in the party on the show. But I do think that our community needs to jump into the Democratic Party. If you're saying these are the people that most align with your values, but you don't really trust them so much, become one of them and make them more credible from the inside.
Shift it over.
Yeah, shift that thing. There's a group, Indivisible, right? Indivisible is an activist group. When Trump got elected, they started popping up all over the place. And they're just little political activist groups. It's mostly retired, middle class, working class, uh, older, middle aged white women, right? But they are a little bit more diverse than a lot of other activist groups, and they are all kinds of active. They do demonstrations. They hold signs and banners like over the like when we were trying to get Kaufman out of there. They're holding up Kaufman signs, holding up cardboard Kaufman, protesting outside of the Capitol. All kinds of stuff's going on, right? Same thing with oh my God. Anyway, they do a whole lot of stuff, right? And so I know a very very strong pro-black activist who is like, I want this and this and this to happen. And I'm like, here's a group right here. Get up with this group. They're talking about the same thing. He's like, that's just old white ladies. I don't want to get involved with them. And I'm like, they've never heard your opinion. And he's like, they will never agree with me because they've never heard anything that I'm talking about. I'm like, imagine if you're there every week for the next year. They can hate you for this whole year, but by the end of the year, they're going to be repeating some of the same things you're saying, even if they don't like you. Not because you just rubbed off on them, but because some of the stuff you're saying is going to hit home, whether they like you or not.
No, you're absolutely right. But
we need that. Take them over.
It's hard to be part of that vanguard.
Not take over Indivisible. Get in there and let's rebuild from the inside, y'all. It doesn't have to be burn everything down all the time, which I do believe there's value in burning things down. Right? I'm not an arsonist fan. I mean, we tear down house. It's cheaper to tear down a house than to fully renovate it, right? Sometimes that may be the answer, but in this case, there's so much valuable infrastructure, money, but there's so much valuable infrastructure that can be utilized if come on in, And also, Arapahoe County Democratic Party, reach out, and rebuild those bridges that have been burned.
That's the whole right there is because of kind of how everything went. The outreach to candidates has to be that in order for it to be, you have to go out and seek diversity. You have to seek it out. It's just not going to organically grow. Because usually in any situation in which you look at an issue and it appears that, wow, there's 50% of the population or 90% of the population is this, but 10% of the outcome is this. There's usually a downward force. There's some kind of downward force pushing on the outcome. If you want a diverse population, you have to go out and get a diverse population. Period. You can't just sit there and wait for them to come to you.
That's exactly what I mean. That they don't act like they're concerned about being diverse, about being inclusive. They need to show that that's actually something that they strive for. Otherwise, they're going to keep losing people to the Centralist Party and the Libertarian Party and all these other parties. They're going to continue to lose that, and they'll lose enough of the black vote. And guess what?
Elections they're going to unaffiliate, and they're going to not donate,
and
not vote with you. Hey,
he's not saying the truth. He's not saying
one campaign story I got, man. There was one lady that was running against me, Jane Barber, and she was actually nice. She'd been on the school board before, and she was speaking to diversity among educators, saying, "Hey, what are you going to do?" The question was, "What are you going to do to get more black educators in our school district? It's not representative of the community." And she said, "We need to start looking in other states. We should go down to the South and get some black people." And it just sounded like we're gonna go down there and capture some blacks, right? And that's how she used all white hair. Like, honestly, that's how everyone took it. And it's like, I don't like that catch-22. I don't want to put you between a rock and a hard place. We know what she was trying to say. Let's go to where there's black educators trying to find a district. Kevin, let's offer them, but
words matter, Kevin.
Yeah. An old ideology comes out when they don't.
Yes. But I think she's from the Lasso days. Who knows? I don't know. But I think lassoing was a thing back in those days.
Well, as they say in church.
I'm from Texas. They rode horses out there too. Hey, look, you said that quote, and that quote is from an engagement that we just had. Somebody talk about this engagement we just came from.
We should have tried. That's what I said. Simulcast. I was like, can we simulcast this?
I'm not that good with the technology, Mike.
Me neither. When I say can we, I mean can you? If it implies any kind of technology.
And I take that as can Stefania. Can Stefania do it?
So we are simulcasting, but however, there was an error on StreamYard's side right now that is not streaming to Facebook Live. So our Facebook Live right now is not on, but obviously we have YouTube and Twitch. So I apologize anybody who thinks later about Facebook on Facebook, but StreamYard's having an issue and it gave me an error.
Okay,
it's fine. We'll just post the link on Facebook later. If people want to watch it, they'll find it. And also Twitch, you'll have people pop in there. Are there any viewers or commenters?
Right now? We have Margot Holmes is watching. Shout out to Margot. She's watching and commenting. So thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. I think we've had the most interactions on Facebook, but Twitch, like people are popping on and watching. But look, so where we were, I was trying to plant the seed, but where we were just on a prior engagement with was in Omar Montgomery's class. He teaches at what, DU?
No.
University of Denver?
No. Is it
CU?
Denver? Is it Denver Community College? Or it's
CU.
The one downtown. It's not University of Denver, I don't think.
I think it's CU Denver. That's a shame that we don't know that.
I think it's CU Denver. Well, he's told me like 17 times.
CU Denver. It's CU Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's CU Denver, and Omar Montgomery is also kind of a member of the crew, and he has to kind of navigate that carefully as his positions. He's going to be running for mayor for the second time, and he now works for Cherry Creek School District. But he's also a former president and is he still the acting president, of the Aurora NAACP?
Yes, still acting president.
I thought we met the president on Tuesday.
She's Denver.
Okay.
Sandra Young is Denver.
Omar is Aurora
chapter. Right.
Omar is the Aurora branch. So Omar Montgomery had to speak to his class on Black politics or Black experience in politics in America or whatever. I swear I should really just know the name of that class. But it's my second time speaking, but y'all's first time speaking. I want to give y'all opportunity to talk about the experience.
I look, and kind of the way I started off. I'll just be completely honest. My favorite class of all times is a class called Black Books 2. I took it in college, and it was about 15 of us, 10 to 15 of us, and it was the most eclectic group of people. We had rugby players. We had what was she? We had deaf. We had a dude who was deaf. We had a non-violent female veteran. We had just somebody who's like, oh, I'll take a Black Books class. We had this professor that was super engaging, but he also was like, ooh, it's about to pop off, and he would literally get up and roll out.
They're pretty diverse classes, and not everybody thinks the same. Not everybody, they're there to, learn. So it's a great class to take.
And we're reading the bluest. We're reading the bluest eyes, Soul on Ice, the Confessions of Nat Turner. We're reading these dynamic books, and then we're having discussions about dynamic books. And it was one of my favorite classes, and it was definitely, and just like when we have our discussions, because we also had Latin revolutionaries,
fire,
who kept telling me that they were taking back California.
Right.
Take it.
We in New Mexico, right? Like you got
right. It's like it's up for grabs.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those most dynamic classes, and you would always get, because we had Charles Lensmeyer, he's the head of one of the largest publishers in the country. He's one of the editors. He came on the show. He was in that class with me, and his favorite pastime was, because he was so smart, was to like tee me up with a really interesting comment, knowing I was going to disagree with it, and just wait until I exploded to say it so everybody in the class would jump on.
We need Charles Lensmeyer back on the show. Because one of the things that he blew my mind with was that there isn't enough diversity in the sources that the college textbooks use to create the curriculum.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I've been talking to him about my run for school board, and one of the things I reached out to him, and we're going to see if we can put something together. Is
Carter for Kids, right there. Carter for Kids
is getting more material, because his publisher publishes a lot of the AP material, but especially now, getting Aurora more material, and getting more material of diversity to Aurora, kind of like through either a grant program or some kind of program. He's definitely taking an interest. I talked to him. We're probably going to put a press release together before the end of October. And I also want to get him, when you brought that up, Omar wasn't on that show with Charles, and Charles was talking about, remember he was talking about how it's hard to get diverse textbooks because it's hard to get diverse authors to write, right? Because publisher perish. And I would love to connect him with Omar.
Man. Imagine. And his brother, huh?
Yeah, his brother. Yeah.
I would love like helping diversity in publishing, so that when these kids are looking at their textbooks, it's not all one color. It's multicolor, multicultural. But that's one of the things that Carter for Kids is working on. Look for a press release soon.
Hey, look here now. Hey, for anyone any new viewers, I'm on the school board in Aurora, Colorado. But I've spoken about this publicly in a couple of our board meetings, that I do believe that we need to handle Black history a little bit differently, and it shouldn't just start in the States. It shouldn't just start with slavery. We need to teach more African history, and and also Black history is history, right? It's not a month. It needs to be across the entire calendar. I've had conversations with the chief academic officer, who's also Black. I believe he's stepping down soon. But up until now, we've made a lot of gains with a Black superintendent, a majority Black school board, a Black president of the school board, a Black chief academic officer. We've done a lot in the Black community with that makeup, and I still think we could do better with how we teach Black people where they come from and who they were and who they are, so we have a better idea where we can go and where we are going. So, look, I'm here for it, Carter, and I say hit the ground running, man. I got some ideas too. Stuff that I didn't get to really deal with as much. And that's what you're going to feel like. You're going to feel like when you go to school, where you're going to be like, man, it's been 2 years. God, I didn't do nothing.
Like, already.
Yeah, man.
We're hoping the campaign's doing great. We're out there knocking doors. We're doing great. But some of the things we want to implement is definitely diversity in those AP classes. And if we can get some authors, if we can connect, Charles with Omar.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
And don't forget IB, also International Baccalaureate.
Mm-hmm.
Get in there too. We need diversity in IB. That's another place. We need diversity in counselors. While we're talking about diversity, we need diversity in counselors, and also that college and career centers need to be diverse. So when kids that aren't necessarily going to college come in here and say, what can I really, really do, boots on the ground tomorrow to pay my bills, because mama ain't got it. I've never seen anyone come in for an expulsion appeal that didn't have either like no parental figure around, or parental figures that weren't working like literally three jobs, right? Like we need to really talk about those students that have to make adult decisions in the 11th grade. Like, do I go to school or do I watch my little brother because my little brother's sick? Like those kids. Not all the standard run-of-the-mill ones. We need to make a real solid plan so they don't fall through the cracks. That's what I want to see. That only comes from diversity, because a lot of these people, they never. You're talking about kicking a kid out of school, and you've never been punched in the face before, so you don't know what it feels like.
Right.
After you get punched in the face, and then the teacher gets in front of you to break up a fight, and you push the teacher out the way. Right. You ever been punched in the nose before? Can you see when you get punched in the nose? Can you see? No, you can't.
No. Okay.
I start watching.
No, you can't.
And the most important thing is, with your analysis, the most important thing is your reaction. A lot of people just have an automatic reaction to that. You get punched in the face and you react. A lot of people don't just lay down and fall down on the ground. They react and they punch back. So
yeah,
when we punish both sides,
you guys have known
some people, it ain't their first time.
You know me long enough to know I've been punched in the nose at least once.
Oh Lord, Carter, good Lord.
At least
I
once.
was there in person.
At least once somebody got through my defense. What?
Usually he's like this, guys.
Whoa. So we're not having a debate anymore. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, right.
We're no longer debating. All right.
Hey, what about Carter? Did you wrestle?
I played football and ran track. I did not wrestle. My son is doing pretty good. He's just, and that was the other thing. My whole thing is it's all about extracurricular activities. And one of the things in college, and it's a simple, you can look it up, and I'll try to get that stat and put it on my Facebook page. There are two factors that will determine whether or not a woman of color is going, one of the two major factors that determine whether or not a woman of color is going to graduate from college. One, if she plays some type of varsity sport. Two, if she gets pregnant. And I obviously can't affect the second one, but that inclusion, all my kids, even though they are not gifted in any way, play sports. They play something. Get out of the house, do something, Mike. And even my son, in direct defiance of me, is playing tennis.
Defiance of you? Why is that defiance of you? You don't want that? Really? Really?
We're gonna move on.
I thought you were joking.
Tennis players vote, so we're gonna move on.
Oh my goodness! Yes, let's move on.
I was gonna say, Stefania, did you play any sports? Because I mean, you might have walked into a minefield, bro.
Stefania, I did not see the shades, Stefania. I apologize.
I did not play tennis, but really, I knew a lot of male tennis players. Okay, so anyway.
They're out there, Carter. They're out there.
They make good money at it.
No. I was like, look, because he wrestles, but because the way the structure is, wrestling's a winter sport, so he needed to do something in between. And I'm like, play soccer, just play something that won't. It's not that hard to play it.
Soccer is so hard.
No. Oh, Jesus, soccer is hard to master, but to get out there and run around, you can do that for a semester and whatever. Tennis, for him to even get to the point where he is competing, or even just, it's so hard. It's just, tennis is just a really hard sport.
Okay.
That's what I meant. By all you tennis players out there, I meant tennis is a very hard sport. Thank you for playing tennis. But I also I grew up playing football. Like when I was in school, it was very simple. You played football, then you played basketball, and then you played baseball, depending on the seasons. Football in the fall, basketball in the winter, baseball in the summer and spring. And I just wanted him to do something. And that's why I told him he should. Yeah.
No lie, I should have played baseball. I played basketball and football. I should have played baseball because I hit a mean line drive, dude. I always hit a mean line drive.
You should. You've got a strike zone that's like.
It's a big strike zone, though.
My thing is this: do you require extracurricular activities? Is it just sports? I mean, there's also marching band.
True.
The student government. I always said that my kids were going to be in the marching band instead of playing sports, and I have two sports boys. There's student government, and honestly, they should be doing both. There's nothing wrong with being in sports and being in student government, and so.
The way I kind of see it is, I can support him in this, and he can spread his wings to wherever he wants to go because he's going to have that foundation. I would love to have him join mock trial team. I would love that. I would love that. I was in something called the academic pentathlon,
Yeah.
And I would love
STEM
to do stuff like that. I'd love, but I know.
Describe that to us, please?
Academic pentathlon. Funny you should ask. It was a competition. It was just like you ran track and you went to other schools and competed against them. Well, they had an academic track team, if you will. And there was something called, and there were events, and I know there was history, social sciences, social studies, math, and you would compete against other schools. It was, I loved it.
Dude, okay, so look, I'm like a big, huge person. When I was a kid, everyone's like, I know you play football. I know you on somebody's basketball team. Can you dunk? All right, then. All right, you're going to be on my squad. No, I know a coach. Like, everybody was like athletics. But I was the biggest nerd. Like, I really wasn't the best athlete. Dude, I would have been the best, dude. Like, oh my God. That, like, when you said that, like, my antenna just went straight up.
So what they had in Texas, so that was the pentathlon, and that was all the events, and then you moved up. But in elementary school, this is so bad. They had something called poetry reading, story reading, and picture memory, right? And my kids will be like, wow, Dad, read us that Paul Bunyan story. So what I would do when I was in like elementary school, you would go on these competitions and you would read, and it'd be just like this. And on a Saturday, you get up your Saturday and you go to these competitions, and you would either do picture memory, poetry reading, and my big one was I used to hit them with the Paul Bunyan by Shel Silverstein. Yeah.
So wait. Is it like, how do you compete? Is it performative? Like,
yeah. So
how well you project, and give me your best Paul Bunyan right now, Mike. I'm gonna need
900 pounds, 10 feet tall.
You're encouraging this?
Huh?
Huh? What?
What? I was a bad poetry reading. I was a rock star, dude.
I do believe it.
My problem with picture memory, though. So picture memory was, and this is so funny. I get flashbacks all the time. Picture memory. So they would give you a stack of cards.
Oh no.
And they would have famous paintings. Right? Now this is, Kevin, you got to understand this. So I'm a little kid in Taylor, Texas, and I'm getting like Monet, Matisse, like all these pictures of these famous, oh man. And you would go on these competitions and you would go, and it'd be like 20 of you in the class. Teacher in the front of the class. This is another Saturday. It's just like another Saturday morning I've given up to go on this competition. Teacher would raise a picture. You look at the picture, you'd have to write, the name of the artist, name of the picture, and the origin. Like, was he French, German? And I could tell you exactly what the picture was. I could tell you picture, artist, everything. But they would always take off for spelling.
So that's what you want your son to do, is follow exactly in your footsteps.
No.
Better. But he's not going to forget that Renoir.
I would love it. Dude, picture memory is so much fun. But I would always lose because I couldn't spell.
Carter, we got to do that, man. I want to do that. I want to do a picture memory competition one day.
Dude. You whip them out and be like, oh, man, that's Matisse. That's my man. Matisse. And the funny thing, when I say I have flashbacks, so we'd go to the, when I was older, I went to Smithsonian. And you'll get this weird deja vu of, because you'll go to the Smithsonian and you'll see a picture hanging. And you're like, where? And it's because 30 years ago, I was studying picture memory, and there's a.
You're like, I lost because of that picture.
And because no, the hard one was French, because I could never spell their names right. I could never spell the picture names right. But
oh man,
I crushed it in poetry reading. Bring me some Shel Silverstein in here.
Just not one of these, huh?
Stefania, talk about your extracurriculars.
Oh, I didn't have any.
Well, come on now.
Stefania was in
I don't believe you.
I didn't play sport. Okay, so I tried sports. I am a spectator sports person. I watch anything. I love sports. I'll watch anything. I'll watch golf. I'll watch curling. I'll watch curling.
Curling is fire.
Right?
Nobody can say anything because we all have watched curling.
I watch anything. I watch. My husband makes me watch golf. I love baseball. I have a baseball son. I have a football son. I love it all. So, but I didn't play. I tried my hand at sports and I was terrible. So I tried track. I was so super slow. I didn't have that. I didn't have it. I just couldn't. I've tried basketball and I don't like people putting their hands in my face. So I stopped that too. So, but I can talk about it. I can tell you everything. I'm Van Gundy, who's never played but can coach you.
See, that's why we need to do a sports show.
We do.
That's why we need that.
Pay attention.
I'm serious, y'all. We need to do a sports show. For real. It was supposed to. I was like, man, I don't even really want to do it, but somebody needs to do it. We need to do it.
Let's talk for another show, though. But anyway, I want to get back to the school, and you're running for school board. So talk about. I mean, what is your plan?
Oh, well, throw me on the spot. I was about to put
Carter. If you're on the school board, what would you do?
There you go.
Implement picture memory and the academic. No, you know what? And since I have Kevin here and I have his support, I think the school board was dealt a bad hand for the last 18 months. The pandemic, they were dealt a bad hand. There has to be more communication, more transparency, and some type of stability for these kids. I want to continue some of the programs that Kevin and Marcus have, especially relating to mental health and getting more mental health professionals into the school. Mm-hmm. Period.
Hey, hold up. On that note, let's not give that. That's not Kevin and Marcus. That was the whole entire community. Everybody, everyone came together for that. We were, kind of a face of it as well because we campaigned for it. But man, hats off to Aurora coming through and voting that support in and getting that money so we could even do it.
That's one of my big things is kind of continuing what you guys did, especially with the mental health. In the community, I like what you said when the community had to be on board because, these are our kids. Why are we policing our kids? Why are we, when I say that there's that downward force, why are we treating our children like that? Why aren't we treating our children with love?
Yeah. And it's been needed for a long time, but I think the pandemic really opened a lot of eyes when kids had to start staying home and they weren't getting that social aspect of humanity, which is something that we're social creatures. And when they weren't getting that, we saw what it was doing to our children. So having that implemented is good.
Well, you guys knew my narrative and you know my story. Even in the tragic times, I still feel I'm blessed. So even during the pandemic, my children were blessed. We were blessed. And then you come to the other side and you're like, well, what have you done with your blessings? Have you given anything back? Have you done anything with your blessings? You survived the pandemic, despite the family tragedies, the personal tragedies. What have you done with your blessings? It's really hard to be in a position where you can, feel sorry for yourself. But in reality, you got to look around and be like, no, what have you done with your blessings? What have you given back? What have you done with your ability to create and give back to these kids? And what have you done for the kids who weren't blessed? What have you done with the kids who didn't get internet? What have you done for the kids who couldn't, if they didn't go to school, they didn't eat? What have you done for them? What have you done with the kids? It
has been pretty scary for all those children who are on the free and reduced lunch program, who didn't have the computers, who didn't know how they were going to turn in their homework, who didn't want to fail. They're good students, but didn't know what they were going to do during the pandemic to continue to be good students.
So like I said, one of the things is if you start counting your blessings, you definitely got to give back. And that's what we're going to be doing. And we're out there knocking on doors and we're talking to people. I've got 3 kids in the school district right now. I had to leave and go pick up one a couple of minutes ago in
Daddy duties.
Elementary. But I have elementary, middle school, and a high school student. And
come on,
I mean,
he knows it. But look, what I want to urge you to remember, not say that you're messing up or anything at all. I'm just saying what I want to urge you to remember is that no matter, because our things in our society fail with the activity and the engagement of a ton of very well-intentioned people. And what I think the biggest issue that our district and most school districts have is that things get put into these buckets, right? These categories, and then there's spaces in between those buckets where students fall through. Like your free and reduced lunch kids, and then there's those kids that don't need free and reduced lunch, but the people right at that cusp, they call them bubble kids, I think, right? Kids right on the bubble, like the kids that are just barely passing, they receive a whole lot less supports than the kids that are actually failing. I have a 69 kid and a 71 kid, just their grades are 69, 71. That 71 kid is struggling so hard and receiving so much less support. And there's a committee that I was on, the senior high school math task force, right? And that was something we sat down and talked about for like 3 weeks straight, was how do we send extra reinforcements just to the kids that are barely passing? Because these failing kids, we have a ton of supports. We're gonna rally around them. But these ones, they fall into a different bucket technically. So think about that when it comes to your free and reduced lunch, because they always say, how many free and reduced lunch kids? Think about how many kids who make just enough money that they don't get free and reduced lunch, and think about how much harder that family may be struggling because they receive so much less government, subsidies and assistance across the board. Because that's what we were. We were working poor, and we were dirt poor, but we didn't get free lunch. You know what I mean? And it's like, my mom got a job, but she don't make that much money.
Right.
So like we're really, really, really struggling more than a lot of people that had less than us because we were right at that cusp. So think about that when you're in there, Lord say the same, and all the hard work pays off. But make sure you think about those cusps and the people on the bubble.
I do like I think Croy or Mr. Thompson. One of the things that I wanted to continue was teachers of color. Period. It has when we were just talking about diversity has to be a priority.
Shout out to Croy Thompson right there.
Diversity has to be that priority. I want to shout out Vista Peak High School Black principal.
And any more Aurora, Arapahoe County, we the Black population, the Hispanic population, the Asian population is increasing. There needs to be inclusion. There needs to be that the thought has to go down that road. You have to think there.
And see, that's why I wanted Adam Fung to stay in the school board race. Last election cycle, I'm like, we need Asian representation on the school board desperately.
Desperately.
One of his policy points was the suicide prevention piece.
Look,
it was so apropos. If we had him, he would have been hitting right when COVID hit. Dude, all right, first things first, we already get an email for every time there's a student that commits suicide, right? So like, that's one of those things that people don't talk about being on the school board is I may open my phone and be notified somebody in my district under the age of 18, 17 years old just took their life, right? And then COVID drops, and then they're getting isolated. Then they don't see their friends. Then they don't receive that meal or that safe space from that abusive parent or that abusive surrounding or whatever. So yeah, the numbers spiked, but the numbers were already significant. Like they were more significant than the national conversation would portray it before COVID, which was very saddening for me.
Okay. Nice.
Let me ask you this. So, being that you're running, there's an epidemic right now with vaping in schools. I have a family member who is in middle school, and just recently somebody was caught vaping in the bathroom. She's in 6th grade. They were vaping in the bathroom. This is 6th through 8th grade. What are we doing to make sure that those vape products, and I get it, there are older siblings probably involved in the home. What are we doing? What's being done to curtail and curb that in the schools?
It's kind of what Kevin went into. It's making the school a safe space. If a kid that young is already experimenting that way, there has to be some kind of foundation, some kind of mental health. Somebody who is not judging but just trying to talk to that kid has to be somewhere. And one of the things, like we said, imagine if instead of an SRO making contact with that individual, it's a mental health professional. All right, why is this happening? What is going on in your life? Something that an SRO would never ask, right? Would never care. You're here, you're vaping, you're done. What's going on in your life at this point that is making this the outcome? That is making, what is the input over here that is making this the outcome? Definitely want to increase that regarding it being a safe space and having communication with these kids, because they're kids. You know, Kevin kind of brought it up. He was a big kid, but he was still a kid. You know, he's 6'6", but he's still a kid. His mind is still developing. You still have to treat him like kids. You have to give him a forum and a space to make mistakes. One of the things that I think I was looking at the last forum that they put up, talking about working with not just the students of color, but the teachers of color, having a place for, if you don't want to come to your administrator, can you come to a teacher? And it's easier to come to a teacher who looks like you than it would be to come to, you know, just a random teacher at all. And that was one of the things we kind of I want to look at and want to go down and see if there's something we can do about that.
Mm-hmm. So what do we say when I guess, you know, in school so often kids are treated so differently. You catch a black kid vaping in school, and it's an extremely harsh punishment. They don't bother to look into the background, like you said, and to see him as a person and to check what's going on. Why did you choose to go down this road? What is the underlying problem? And he's treated harshly, he's kicked out of school. He's sent to a place where now he feels bad. He's going to continue vaping. He's sent back home with his, where he has time off to vape all day. How do we get people to deal with people differently, kids differently, and not deal from that mental map of the black kids are treated more harshly than the white kids? How do we get there? It seems like in 2021, if we're still going through diversity training, something's not taking.
Well, you said it. You dropped it. You said diversity training. But forget diversity training. Have true diversity. Have individuals of color in the school. We were talking about, remember when we brought up like words matter. There is an ability for you to communicate with, I might be able to communicate with Kevin on a different level than I can communicate with Stefania, right? And that might just be because me and Kevin look alike, right? That might be, Kevin's a black man, I'm a black man. It might be just that simple. Stefania could be like, you know what? We need that kid Carter. We got to get him out of class. He's disruptive. He doesn't want to listen. And it could be he just wants somebody to listen, and he just can't talk to you. And if we have enough people in that classroom, enough people in that school that look like him and are willing to listen to him, I think, regardless of the input, I think we can change the outcome.
Should it always be that the black kid has to go to the black person to talk, though? I mean, I know that it's more comfortable, but it should be that everyone is treated. Go ahead.
No. What we are in a process. We're in a process of. We haven't tried it the other way, right? The black kid never had someone to go talk to, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He never. I swear. I won't swear.
First grade to 12th grade, some of them never have a teacher that looks like them.
Yeah.
I did not have a black male teacher until I got to college.
Yeah.
Period. So if Carter is maybe trying to communicate, but it comes out as he's a bad kid, it could be, well, he doesn't have anybody. And this is especially for our kids who don't have strong individuals in the home. Maybe Carter's not a bad kid. Maybe he just needs someone to communicate to him and help him. And
maybe they're strong individuals. Maybe they're strong individuals in the home, but they're strong in the wrong way, right? Like maybe maybe you would be the ultimate salesman, but you're not involved in any legal activities, right? And now you're using your natural ability, God gifted abilities in the wrong area. Or what if you are a leader, you're a natural born leader? Every time you go around your peers, they follow you, but you've been led astray. I've had family members that come around, and I've had two family members that were natural born leaders. One of them was on the right side of the law, ended up in the military, going very far in the military. One of them on the wrong side of the law. I would literally see him leading a pack of kids wearing all black with backpacks and gloves on, right?
No,
Like literally.
Exactly that. Imagine if I came to school and there was Mr. Cox. Mr. Kevin Cox was my teacher. Somebody who wants to be there, somebody who wants to engage, and actually, hey man, hey, and we had, I cannot remember his last name, Omar. Omar's brother was on. Talking about those kids come to school and they are engaged from the time they get there to the time they leave. They come. It's great if we call it. We want to create a sense of family, but every time I want a sense of family at school, but every time I come to school, nobody looks like me.
Yeah.
Stefania, what did that last comment? I literally can't read it. The text is like so small.
For instance, like more equitable consequences for young people. There are in-house courts amongst their peers. These end up being more fair than with the adult issuing consequences. It's not a great idea.
One of the things I put on my website as well. There was this study, and it's just who metes out the punishment. Who metes out your punishment? They did a study on Black enlisted men, and they basically said, okay, a Black enlisted man is charged with X. If his cadre is Black or reflects him, the outcome is different if the cadre or his sergeant or his cadre are of a different color. It is harsher for those people, for enlisted men, when the individuals in charge of punishment don't look like them. It's
And when your peers dish it out, can you imagine if your peers in the high school, the middle school level are being part of that decision-making process of what punishment you're going to get? That's pivotal. Like, did your mom ever tell you how do you think I should punish you? And you couldn't say no punishment, give me candy, because she'd be like, okay, go give me the belt.
Well, I gave you a shot.
Right. I gave you a shot. I gave you a chance.
I gave you a shot. You're getting a beating and you're getting grounded. So you know what I mean? So they learn how to pick a punishment that is suitable, and then that carries over. Like, they know they're going to have to face their peers.
Well, it goes back to that being family. What's the hardest pressure? It's that peer pressure. I am part of this community. So when I mess up, I've let this community down, and I have to go face my
peer pressure that leads you in the right direction.
The right direction.
And look, we're talking about. I'm sorry, Mike. Sorry I cut you off, but I was trying to find that space. We're talking about diversity and equity representation, right? And you need young students of every demographic to see some educators and administrators and mental health professionals and everybody that look like them a little bit, at least somewhere throughout it. But it's like that. It's like, what's the opposite of a self-perpetuating, cycle? It's like you don't see it, so none of these kids are inspired to be it, when they grow up, so that the next generation of kids could see it. Because right now, I can tell you, the district sees, they go out there recruiting. We'll be actively recruiting in Chicago. We'll be actively recruiting in California. We'll be actively recruiting in New Mexico and Texas, right? And like all year round, trying to get teachers to move to Aurora and teach with us because they more represent our community. And there's a dearth of these people. It's very, very few Black males who are applying to be teachers for me to say, hey, get a job in Aurora. It's like there's not that many to ask.
And one of the things I want to do is, why go out of state? We need to be not just recruiting here. We need to be teaching these kids to be teachers. And so it becomes, the community is a thread, and it goes from when you're a little kid all the way up, and it's this thread. So when you're done with high school, you're like, I want to be like Mr. Cox. I want to be like, Miss Gallegos. I want to come back and teach. us, I'm sure I don't know how fruitful it's going to be us going to New Mexico and Texas. And the reality is, if you want a community, you got to build it here. And that starts with getting those kids, teaching them to the point where they're embracing it. And they're like, you know what? I want to come back.
Yeah.
I want to come back and teach. I want to teach like Mr. Cox. I want to teach like Miss Gallegos. I want to do for another kid what they did for me. And that's how you get diversity. Period.
Yo, like my wife was commenting on here. She's taught me some very valuable lessons. One of the biggest ones that she said was, we need courses to teach students how to be better students. Like, teach them to learn. You know, kids are walking into college. I was able to graduate, but I didn't even know how to study yet. Like, I did not know how to effectively take notes. We need to teach that. That needs to be a course. I don't know how to do it. I can't teach you that. You know, I never really wrote that many notes. I was super interested and I remembered it, or I wasn't interested and I forgot all of it. Right? That was me. I was a horrible student. I make good grades when I wanted to, and I failed when I didn't. Right? We can educate our way out of these issues, and we need diverse teachers to help us do it.
We do.
Agreed. I mean, like I said, the downward forces. If there's downward forces and the outcome is unequal, there's probably something in between that is stopping that. I know we've had some forums. I know we had some people on. What I want is, and what I always ask for is teachers of color. It just increases the outcomes that we want. We get kids that want to come back. And the whole point of Aurora Public Schools is to teach the kids. It's to create, this community in these children so they'll come back.
Yeah. Future society members, future community members, future leaders. It behooves us to make sure that they are being educated properly, with care and with tenderness. And so we're running out of time. But Carter, since this is about your campaign, do you have anything that you want to say? You want to drop a dope like that?
Oh no. One of the things we were laughing about extracurriculars. We were just laughing, and we're talking about I had no black teachers. I can't remember one. I did have black coaches.
Right.
I did have people who, when I was in a bad spot or didn't feel comfortable, I'd go to Coach Delavan's homeroom, and he'd be like, "All right, Carter, I can go to." You might not be a teacher, but you can make an impact on people's lives. And you got to remember that, man. Those little guys are looking up at you wide-eyed, and they're trying to figure out how to be an adult, and they're looking at you. And so just remember, and one of the things we're going to do, I'm definitely going to continue the progress that Marcus and Kevin and the board have made. I want to reach out to these teachers of color, but I'm also going to put my stamp on it where we're going to be inclusive, and we're going to be inclusive. We're going to be inclusive. We're going to be a community. That's all. Stop being mad at our neighbors. We're going to be a community. We're going to go outside. I challenge anybody. I want you to go outside and look at the little kids playing, and then come back here, and I dare you. I challenge you to be mad. Go watch little kids play. It's beautiful.
That's true, man.
All that nonsense is learned. Based on that, Michael Carter.
And when is the election?
November 2nd.
November 2nd, everybody. Vote. You've got to be willing to vote local.
Give them a website. Give them a campaign phone number. Give them something. They got to be able to reach you somehow. You can find the website. It's Carter for Kids. We're also got a Facebook page, Carter for Kids. We are doing an event on Sunday, another event on Sunday, and I will put that on my Facebook page as well with all the information. But
I bet you need volunteers to help you knock doors. How can they call you? Can they text you? What's up?
There's a number on the page, but I'll give it to you. It's the 303-501-1825, and we need volunteers to knock on some doors.
Repeat that. You said it kind of fast, man. If I was
303-501-1825. Let's get some volunteers out here.
Boom, boom, boom.
All right, there you go. So with that, Kevin, do you have a dope black thought?
No, I was really cool finishing out right there.
Look, I know you're already.
Yeah, sure.
And you're like,
look, I'm always ready to wrap it up. No, but dope black thought. Humbled and honored to talk to Omar's class again. Those conversations, talking about Black experience in the body politic, is so valuable and fruitful. And I want to give hats off to Mike for jumping in, and that statement you said when you said, what am I doing with my blessings? That's super huge. That reminds me when I was really young and we were really, really dirt poor. Like I used to do that sometimes. I'd be like, look, you know what I'm saying? Like I can go outside and there's like, I'm gonna climb this tree. Like there's literally nothing else to do positive right here. I'm gonna go get beat up if I go over there, but I'm gonna climb this tree right here though. Like that right there, that's very valuable. Yeah. Keep bringing that energy. So that's my little thought.
Well, my dope black thought for the evening is vote. Local vote. It is your reasonable service as a community member to vote. We have elections coming up, so pay attention. We'll have more candidates on, but vote. With that, now you can salute. DBT out.
Peace.
What is love? It's a drug. Let it rotate, didn't hit back in it. Calling me an Uber just to hit back in it. Hit the cash out like fake, I send it. Is it really worth the wait? I don't get it. Dividing gravitate. Taste that wet emoji got me higher out of space.